Welcome to the Open Telekom Cloud podcast, Radio OTC. Today we are here together with Helm Nagel, the company, and here is on one hand Christopher Helm, and
Hi.
on the other hand is Nico Engelmann.
Hi.
So we are here in Frankfurt, in a wonderful Frankfurt. Maybe you see it in the background. Guests together with Helm Nagel, and maybe let's directly give the word to them.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invitation. Happy to be here, and let's do a short introduction from my side. I'm
Yes.
Chris. I'm the CEO at the company, which is called Helm Nagel GmbH, and I'm there even before the company. So I started in 2011, and then we founded the company in 2016. But I think we can go into details afterwards.
Yes.
All right, I'm Nico. I work as AI engineer at Helm Nagel, and I'm developing new AI models and new features in close relationship to our customers.
Sounds amazing. Great. So you are using also the Open Telekom Cloud, and maybe you can give us a little bit some information. What is your company? What products, what offerings do you have? What are you doing in your daily business, in your roles? What are your responsibilities by each person, etc.? Maybe just let us know what is Helm Nagel, who is Helm Nagel, and I think one of your products is called Confutio.
That's
What
correct.
is Confutio?
That's correct. Let's start a bit historically. I think this is always interesting. So when I was younger than today, like 2011, we started as solo entrepreneurs. So quite different to normal, like how normal, let's say, startups start their business, because they search for funding and then they go out and look for with a nice pitch deck for investor money. And what we did back then was like we also looked for potential customers, we looked for potential use cases. And back then there was this first wave of AI, which is more machine learning, pretty basic algorithms out there. And the main issue most enterprise customers we had in those days were how can you make actually meaning and get some sense out of the unstructured data you have? And this was actually ever evolving. So 2011 to 2016, we put apart some money and we actually collected like all those use cases which drove the innovation for most enterprises, because it was really hard for them to find like data which is reliable, which is trustworthy, and which can be combined to automate business processes. And in 2016, we founded the company, which is called Helm Nagel GmbH. And it's also pretty, let's say, like you can see it's a family-owned business. So also then other AI startups in the sphere, we are reliable on ourselves, and we rely on what our customers like. And back then we started with the development of what we call Confutio today, which stands for solving confusion. Because we have built like an enterprise compound and AI system which can be used to make unstructured data reasonably consumable to different departments of an enterprise company.
Cool.
And that's actually like the starting point. And from there we had like across different verticals, different industries, several customers. And how did we come to the OTC cloud? So also from a historic base, we had like, GDPR has been driving the market for quite some time.
Yeah.
Quite some time. And in addition to that, there are special regulations which are from our customers, like many like German-based providers. And when you look in the details of some other hyperscalers, it remains vague how data is really processed, and also during the support processes. For example, if someone from OTC needs to look in the VM or something like that, which entities can actually look into this data and can support that.
And here everything stays in Germany/Europe, and you don't have this risk that also overseas companies, big companies, can look into your environment stuff, tickets, whatever, right?
Exactly. And I think one special point is like you have those professions which not only have GDPR regulations, but also criminal law regulations, for example, which is Berufsgeheimnisträger.
Yeah.
So everyone has like a German word to learn now, which is like, for example, lawyers or medical doctors, which are processing health data. And we found it really interesting because we have like a close relationship, and OTC came up with us to build such a contract for our customers to host them on the OTC.
So perfect match, because we have directly these certificates which you need to provide your customers the services.
Back then there was not everything in place.
Yeah, but nowadays at least.
But nowadays we made it happen, and so it was nice to build this contract together, back in 2020 and 2021.
Probably, yes, yeah.
Was released. So also our healthcare data process could be hosted there. But I need to admit, we have multiple clouds we are running on, because even OTC is non-sticky because it's using an open stack.
Yeah.
We have multiple customers because they have different cloud strategies. And we provide our AI solutions, be it Confusio or be it other solutions we have in the house. We provide it as an open cloud, so multi-tenant systems where multiple people can register and use it. We have private cloud deployments, for example, OTC customers in combination with Confusio. So they are using our software to host their AI orchestration in the OTC cloud.
So your services, your opportunities there, your environment, but I said your service, but in their environment, right?
Exactly.
So their infrastructure, their own one, tenant.
So we bring the source code, we bring perhaps the knowledge if it's not there at the customer side, or OTC partners bring the knowledge to them. And we provide the software code, which can then even be hosted air-gapped environments, so on-premise systems. And we have the full bandwidth, wherever you want to go with the AI, we have a scenario where you can deploy it.
Do you also offer here managed services? So do you also then take care about the infrastructure where your solution is running on, or is this the responsibility of the customer, or can they choose what they want?
The last one is the correct one. They can choose. For selected clients, we provide managed services, but those are really in the enterprise sector, which means 5,000 employees and more. And if they're smaller customers, they can use the SaaS cloud, where we have everything installed. You don't need to do anything. You only need to register an account or come via single sign-on into it, and then everything is already there.
Sounds great. You talked a lot about customers. Can you maybe give us here some examples? What are your customers?
Absolutely. As you can imagine, when you start out, you look for where are really the use cases. And when I said unstructured data, most of the time, at least multiple years ago, it was documents. So when you look at the company, you have actually 3 points of knowledge when you condense it down a bit, because you have people. People have a lot of knowledge in their brains, so be it explicit or implicit knowledge. And people try to make a knowledge from an implicit point to explicit. So they try to write it down, they take some notes, they do Jira tickets, they collect everything, they do voice memos, they take pictures of the whiteboard they have written on. And this is something we call documents. Documents can be anything. A PDF document can be a picture, can be something.
Your email,
whatever you think of. And then there are the machines. And the machines need to consume this explicit knowledge to make something happen. For example, automate a workflow. And when I'm speaking about customers, mainly document-driven industries we started on was banking, so pretty close here to Frankfurt of the banking industry. There was also the insurance sector, which is a super paper-heavy, or let's say document-heavy industry. But in the last time, we also see that those customers in the publishing area, they also think about how can we leverage NLP, so natural language processing, how can we leverage large language models to bring them into a position that they can actually give their users a different way to consume their content. And so big customer names we have is, for example, the Sparkassen Group, which is Deutsche Sparkassen Verlag. But they are not on the OTC, just to make this explicit.
Short disclaimer here.
Yeah. But because they are heavily regulated and they are using different cloud strategies to do that. And we have a lot of, let's say, niche customers, which are software companies, actually. So we provide the right AI tools. We provide the scalable infrastructure, which they can deploy wherever they want. And they can integrate this as a white label solution to give their users, for example, app companies, which have you take a picture of a medical laboratory statement, and you just want to know what blood measures are there. You really want to understand, okay, am I good or am I bad? And the app does take Confusio in the background, for example, analyzes this picture and comes up with which are the plot measures, which are the elements that matter to the client. And then they can use this data in their app to actually analyze the healthcare data.
Cool. So this is not a flat reselling. They just take it and sell it back again. So this is they really put their add-ons on it. They just use your product, your services as a structure or as a foundation, better said, right?
Exactly. It's value-added reselling, you can call it like this. So we are the independent software vendor on their side, but they can take this, let's say, platform we have and leverage their internal process with the data we can bring to them.
Cool. So a great multiplicator for them.
Yeah.
Yes. What we additional offer is a consultancy. So if a customer comes to us and has a problem, then we try to collaborate with him, understand his problem, and develop a solution with him from the ground up usually. And besides the consultancy part, we have our software, which the customer then can use. And for special use cases, we can also adapt our software. Often there is the need for custom AI models. So we develop in conjunction with our client those AI models to deliver basically a really good fitting model for their use case at hand.
Cool. So we talked about a lot of use cases, etc. Maybe just some additional words about your main product, which is Confusio. Maybe just with a few sentences as a summary to the viewers, to the listeners out there. What is Confusio in a short word? So maybe something like an elevator pitch. Something like
an
this.
elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Confusio is a document AI platform that leverages different AI models to create compound systems, so multiple AI models working together, that can automate processes with unstructured data. So this is actually one platform to combine different AI models which are out there. So it can be custom-made models by the customers. It can be open source models, when you think of Llama, which has been released out there. And it can also be custom models which we have built as a template base. For example, if you think in the banking industry, you have energy certificates when you buy a home.
Yeah.
And you need to analyze them to understand, what is like the energy which is consumed by the house and which sources of energy is the house consuming, for example, gas or oil and so on. And this platform was built for a really, let's say, modular approach to extract information from this document and then bring it into a very standardized and enterprise-grade way into the processes of the enterprise. And this is like Confusio, like we do a lot of stuff around that, but Confusio is the, let's say, easy to set up, easy to deploy, and easy to monitor way to build AI compound systems, which means multiple AI models work together to achieve one business aim.
So AI without the struggle which you usually sometimes have when you want to do their self-hosted elements.
Yeah, I think it's not only the struggle that you need to host them and you need to understand is the deployment correct. So everything Nico, for example, is doing like having like a really close look, like is everything running correctly? But also from a business side to understand, is the output trustworthy? Is the information which is outputted by the model, is it grounded? So can you track back where the information comes from? You know, like LLMs hallucinate. And you really want to make sure that the information someone relies on in the business decision can be tracked back to the original document or the original information. Right. And I think this is really challenging, especially if you just have like several developers trying to build something. Because what you have then is like, it's normally called the POC death. So you try something really fast, you collaborate with people in a really agile environment, and then you come up with a really good solution. You have something which is working, like 4 or 5 people have built it, cross-functional teams, but then there comes something special, which is like the runtime environment. And then you go from everything is nice and fun and you can make like things happen.
Then you come to the real life.
Then you come to the real life, especially in enterprise-grade setups. And you know, okay, now there are questions like, is there a single sign-on? Is there a scalable deployment? Are the logs that is provided by the system really reasonable? And can you really understand what's going on there? Can you trace what a user does in the system? And then normally the POC, which might have took like 6 months, it couldn't take like 3 years to get ready for deployment if you really want to make sure that the IT department is happy with the solution.
To really grow this POC baby to the adult software you really use in your daily business.
And that's what we can do, is like making this POC shorter, because most of the elements are there. And on the other side, like bringing it into production by a click.
Perfect. And I think now everybody should at least know who is Helm Nagel, what is this company about, and also what is their main, I would say, product offering, Confusio. And you already talked a little bit about logs, about sources, etc. There maybe we come next to the topic about the real Open Telekom Cloud. So what is your main thing? How do you use the Open Telekom Cloud? And for this, maybe I hand over to you, Dennis.
Yes. This would be really interesting, I think, for everyone who is listening right now. How you use the OTC, like which services, in which region, for example, and what helps you to enable your business.
Maybe I jump in here. So we mainly use the object secure storage to store all the documents from our SaaS offering. And we are talking here about millions of documents, so like really a lot of documents. And on the other hand, we also make use of the Kubernetes integration you offer, which enables us to test and deploy our models and the software at scale. So that if the demand is low, we can lower down the demand or the service and scale up during daytime if there are a lot of documents coming in, for example. And that's working really great.
That sounds really good. And maybe you can tell us also some more words why you are using the OTC. So why you have chosen us.
Yeah. So first of all, we were looking for a really reliable provider. I think that was the most critical point for us, because we sell to enterprise clients, and security and reliability is really key here. So that was one part of the story. And the other one is, of course, the German servers. We want to host our server, our software on German servers, and so we also provide that. And so we decided to start with the OTC cloud, and the support has also been good, so we just stick with it.
This sounds great. Right? Yeah. You already mentioned this with the support, so maybe you can go a little bit deeper into this. So what you really appreciate about the collaboration between us?
I think the first point I touched already in the beginning. So back in 2020, like the requirements large AI models bring were quite new to cloud providers. So we stepped in and said like, hey, we have like those special requirements. We have like requirements from the data processing part. And for example, I think one core element was like the point of people who are processing not only GDPR relevant data, but processing that is under criminal law. So for example, lawyers, healthcare data, medical doctors. And I think those elements weren't really touched in the contracts back then. And from our perspective, it was really a partner agreement to say, okay, we invest the time both to really cover the requirements that are necessary to bring our customers live. And I think this is something based on the size of Telekom or to OTC in special. It's not usual to have this partner level agreement to say let's work on something which hasn't been there yet and bring it live. And I also think like a second point is that the innovation from our side was interesting for Telekom too, because OTC is not only a cloud hoster, but also Telekom could provide additional consulting services, which is sometimes interesting for our customers because they are either already a part of Telekom or they are thinking about who could be a service or professional services provider in addition to the software provider as we are. And this is always like also a nice click that you have a lot of existing contracts to potential customers, or we can bring in customers, and you not only provide the cloud, but you can also have the knowledge and the people serving additional professional services to them.
So there the big magenta T is
Exactly.
pretty shining bright
Exactly. Yeah.
with everything around it.
So my next question would be, what can we expect from you in the future? So maybe Nico, you can tell us a little bit more.
So you offer the OTC marketplace, and we have developed a marketplace app for this, which should launch soon. Yeah.
Maybe you can also give us maybe some insights.
I can give a little teaser. So it is basically a tool which also enterprise clients can use. For example, for internal or external communication, you can think of it as a website integration, which can be used for client interaction in form of a chatbot. But you can also utilize this tool for internal communication, for example, for the intranet, to utilize company information and what Chris said before, the information flow between employees to optimize this, and also the knowledge, the knowledge base, that you don't lose knowledge if if not a customer but an employee leaves the company, so you still have a shared knowledge base within your company within this tool.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. Do you want to add something?
Absolutely. And I think we have touched this point about like documents in the beginning of the conversation. And in the beginning, documents were really limited. Everyone was thinking about a document. It's like, oh, it's something you print on paper. And I think through the LLMs, so the large language models and RAG systems, which is retrieval augmented generation, which means like you take the knowledge which is in a large language model and you combine it with primary sources you can trace and you can verify if everything is fine. And this opens up a new, let's say, generation of documents, because before it was like printed on paper, something you can scan, something you can take a picture of. And now documents become more, let's say, fluid, because when you think about an audio message which you got on WhatsApp, or when you think about this recording right now, this is, in our sense, also some piece of knowledge where knowledge becomes explicit. So we are discussing stuff here, we have a lot of like insights. And if you think about our conversation right now, there might be interesting elements, but you don't want to look like at the full video right now. And Confusio Chat provides an option to give employees in a company or external visitors of a homepage of a company a way to dig into content that has been produced and is like scattered around different systems, ERP system, and so on, like email inboxes, wherever you can use this data, and interact with this knowledge by a question answering approach. So it's not only the chatbot as you think of, but also like think of our conversation and you want to transform it to a blog post. This is something you can do, and I think documents become much more like fluid, so they can change from an audio message, they can change to a PDF, the PDF can change to a blog post, the blog post can change to something you get as a voice message, and this is like the interesting part we are now looking at, that this change of information between machines and humans becomes more fluid, and we can process much more, let's say, file types, you could say, to actually consume this knowledge and also transform the knowledge, which is, for example, this podcast, into something that fits exactly the user's need. Perhaps you just want to know, like, what are the 3 bullet points for why should I use OTC? And you could ask this document, which we think of this video or this podcast right now, and transform it into 3 bullet points by using large language models. And this is something we do with Confusio Chat.
So you put the content into the focus, into the main area, and not the style of it, etc. So you really say, this is the content, I can search through it, I can use it how I as a user want it, and not how the content is initially provided.
Exactly. So it's a transformation engine for content, actually.
So focusing at the user.
Yeah.
Really great. We can looking forward and happy to have it soon on the marketplace. Then I would hand over to you, Stefan.
All right. Thank you a lot, Dennis. So you see a very interesting company here, Helm Nagel, with a very, very interesting solution offering they have here with Confusio. So with this, I would say thank you a lot, Christopher Helm, and thank you a lot also, Nico Engelmann, for having us here in the beautiful Frankfurt, for providing us your story, how you have started with the company, how you have really started from more or less in the time where AI, nobody was talking about AI, and you were already using and utilizing the power of AI at a so early stage. Also the connection, the collaboration between you, Helm Nagel, and us as Open Telekom Cloud, the journey together. And yeah, we are looking into hopefully a bright future also still. Hopefully see you then soon on the marketplace with your offering there. And one more time, thank you a lot for having us here.
Thanks for the invitation.
Thanks for coming.